So I'm not a big joke guy, but what's blue and not very heavy?
What's blue and not very heavy?
Yeah, what's blue and not very heavy?
What?
Light blue.
the chief, the chief passed the test. That was a good joke. Chief, I am really happy to have you here. Um, it's been a long time since I've had a podcast where I get to learn somebody. And this is our first time, well, not our first time meeting, but our first time sitting down chatting. And I would just love to know who you are.
Sure. So, born and raised in the city of Birmingham. I'm a Birmingham product. Uh, I grew up in the Five Points West area. Uh, went to Central Park Elementary School,
Okay.
Green Acres Middle School, and I went to the West End High School, only the greatest high school in the history of the state. Just for reference, just saying. But no, I was born and raised here, so this is
Okay.
where I'm from.
Okay. Okay. And what was your upbringing like? Like, tell me about your parents and tell me about your siblings and tell me, you know, kind of what life was like. Were you in the band? Did you play football? You know, tell me about you.
So
The stuff that's not on the bio. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. So like I said, I grew up in the Five Points West End area. I have one older brother. He's 3 years older than me. Man, we had a great childhood. Like both of us were into sports. My brother played football. I played basketball. We both went to West End High School. Uh, Parents always kept us active, kept us doing things, sports, and always made sure our grades were up to par before we could do anything. But all I remember from my childhood is great memories and being in the neighborhood and playing outside with my friends and just a great upbringing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mom passed away a few years back. My mom was my biggest cheerleader in
Yeah.
life. She passed away in 2017. My dad unfortunately passed away around 2008. But they were both my biggest cheerleaders in life. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, had a good childhood.
Tell me about your brother.
So my brother, that's my hero. Quite often, like he tells people I'm his hero, and but my brother is the driving force of why I've turned out the way I turned out as an adult. Um, I wanted to be like my big brother. My brother taught me how to drive. He taught me how to play basketball. He taught me how to be a man. Uh, One interesting thing a lot of people don't really know about with my brother and I is I gave my brother a kidney. Uh, 20 going on 23 years ago.
Wow.
That's a special connection that we share. But yeah, my brother is that's my guy. He actually is an entrepreneur. He opened up a Brewster's ice cream about a year ago in Trussville. So my brother's doing well in life. That's my guy.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about your beautiful wife,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we talked in the context that we did. I want you to tell me how you met her with Valentine's coming up. We need us a good love story. So tell us how you met and how you proposed.
So I met my wife nearly 24 years ago. My wife is also a firefighter, so we met
Oh,
we met
okay.
when I first joined the fire service. We've been dating almost 20 years. We've been married for 12, going on 13 years. And I asked her to marry me one day, probably around 2008 or 2009. Uh, she was on her way to work. She was getting ready to go to work, and I typically walked her to the car. So I walked her out walked outside like I normally do, and I was pretending that I had a headache and I was about to pass out. And I know. And she turned around. She saw me like I was on the ground, and I told her I needed her to go in the house and get I need a painkiller. We had an inside joke about when she gets gifts, she calls them painkillers. So I asked her to go in the house and get me a painkiller off the table. And she went in the house, and on the table was her engagement ring. So she walked in and found her engagement ring, and she walked out, and she was in tears, and she said, luckily for me, she said yes. So that's how yeah.
Luckily for her too.
Yeah.
Luckily for her too. Now, what exactly in your, how did becoming a fireman come into your mind and come into your life?
Oh man, I knew I wanted to be a firefighter since I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So that's all I ever wanted to be. What my mom used to like to tell people whenever firefighters rode down our street, we stayed a couple of blocks away from the fire station number 20. So whenever they would ride up and down the street, she used to like to tell people I'd knock over all the lamps and pull the blinds and curtains down just to get a glimpse of the fire truck passing down the street. So I got bit by the firefighter bug when I was a little kid.
Okay.
When I was about 10 years old, there was a fire next door to our house, and the firefighters took time to talk to me after they put the fire out. So that just continued to spark my interest, and that's really when I fell in love with becoming a firefighter. So I never looked back after that.
What does it take to become a firefighter? Particularly to get to where you are?
So the first thing with becoming a firefighter is there's a lot of steps to take to become a firefighter. The first most important part is you have to take the Jefferson County Personnel Board firefighter entry exam. That gets you on their certification list. And after that, that makes you eligible to participate in our pre-hire screening process. So there's several steps to that. So once you complete the pre-hire screening process, go through the recruit academy, which takes about 6 months, where you get your firefighter certification, EMT certification, and a host of other certifications. Then you have a year's worth of probation. But that's just to get in the door and become a firefighter. To get to where I am currently, it takes a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of training, a lot of classes. And there's a lot of promotional steps to get to before you become the fire chief. So I was lucky enough to raise through the ranks, where I was promoted to lieutenant in 2011, got promoted to captain in 2015. Then I got promoted to battalion chief in 2017. And in 2019, Mayor Woodfin appointed me as fire chief. So it took several different steps to get to where I am. But part of that is I had good mentors coming up in the fire department. So I didn't get here by myself, but it did take a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of training, and a little bit of luck too.
And a little bit of luck. Now, when you look at when you took the helm as chief to right now, I want you to talk about that time, assess it, your successes, and then we're in a new year. We are looking forward. What are your new goals moving forward?
And that's a great question. When I took over, we were actually sworn in like February 1st, February 3rd of 2020. That's when we officially took over the helm. And one thing about me, I never like to take credit for the success we've had as an organization. As the leader of the department, I always like to deflect the success to my staff and our personnel. My job and my role is to take all the blame if stuff goes bad. But we've had so much success and gotten so much stuff accomplished over the last 5 years. I'm so proud of my team and our department. When I took over in 2020, there was a lot going on at that point. When I walked in the door as fire chief, we were about 86 people short. A couple of weeks after I was sworn in, we had something called the coronavirus worldwide pandemic. We were going through budget deficits. We had civil unrest shortly after that. So there were a lot of things going on for a new administration to tackle. And that's what makes me so proud of the men and women that work here, because we got through all those unprecedented challenges together. So early on, we faced some things that no other administration had to face coming in the door, but our personnel performed like the professionals they are, and we got through it. And even through that, we got a lot of stuff accomplished. Going forward, like there's still, like though we've gotten a lot of the things that I first set out as fire chief accomplished, there's still some things that I want to see get done before we exit and move on and let the next fire chief and administration take over. We still want to continue improving our apparatus and some of the things we want to see with our fire stations. Like there's still some things that we're actively working on to make it better. Like my goal when I got here was to leave it in a better place than I found it. And my predecessors, their job was to do the same thing. So they set the table for me. I just want to make sure I do the same thing for the next fire chief. Just make sure there's a plan in place for them to succeed, and make sure I take care of some of the issues that have been long-term issues for the fire service. Just make life for our personnel and our citizens better. So it's really simple for me.
Outstanding. You told me about your two beautiful daughters.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about them and give them a shout out, because I know they're gonna be watching Daddy.
Oh, those girls are that's my world. Having been a girl dad changed my life. So my oldest daughter, Brooklyn, just turned 9, and my youngest, my baby girl, Callie, is about to turn 7 in April. But those girls, they keep me going. They motivate me to get up and go to work every day, and I could not imagine my life without them. So they're special little girls.
And finally, what role does God, what place does faith hold as it relates to your life and your career?
And I was brought up in the church. I was brought up at St. John Baptist Church in Powderly on Carlos Avenue. My mom, my grandma, all my aunts, they all instilled in us the believe in and have faith in God. And I could not do or be anything without having God in my life or my belief in God. So that's something that I always keep with me. I still pray every night like I did when I was a kid, and I know I couldn't have accomplished anything without God being the head of my life. So that's who I am.